On behalf of our family, Father Glenn, sisters Nancy and Jane, brothers Jerry and John, our spouses and our families, Mom's sisters Dawn and Janice, and all in the Thompson families and all in our extended family. We thank you for your presence here today to help us give thanks to God for the gift of Mom's life. We also greatly appreciate all the cards, conversations, phone calls, memorials, and food we received in remembrance of Mom and in support of our family. We had a wonderful visitation last night, and we're both grateful and appreciative of your kindness and support of our entire family. A few words about Mom. In Mom's obituary, she wrote this section that begins, "I've had an extremely good life." And she's right. We're here today to celebrate and give thanks to God for Mom's extremely good life. That life began and ended for her in Brookings. Mom was born in Brookings, raised in Brookings, worked in Brookings, excluding a short stint in peer working for Governor George Nicholson Sr., was married in Brookings, joined a Lutheran church in Brookings, raised her family in Brookings, went to college here, and died in Brookings. I'm starting to think she really liked it. As much as she loved this place and made it her home, Mom and Dad had the opportunity to travel places around the world and to all parts of this country. Visiting their children and friends brought both great joy and greater appreciation of home. She liked Brookings enough to convince an SDSU graduate from Academy, South Dakota to make this place home and to raise her family of 5 kids. Her greatest accomplishment, she called us in her obituary. Obviously, Mom was a very generous woman. I'm not sure she would revise that sentiment today to include her grandchildren. They brought her tremendous pride and joy, and she loved them dearly. Like a lot of South Dakotans, Mom was a private person. And yet she built lifelong friendships through 50-plus year memberships in Ascension Lutheran, County Extension, and Bridge Club. She cherished the friendships that she made in these groups, and they greatly enriched her life. Mom and Dad were blessed with wonderful neighbors in the 3 homes they lived here at Brookings, and we're grateful for your friendship and support. Mom lived the majority of her life in good health, and she and our family enjoyed many wonderful experiences during this time. We give thanks to God for all the good times we shared and all the memories we cherish. If you knew Mom, you knew she was a strong woman. Strong in opinion, strong in emotion, strong in compassion, and especially strong in defense of her family. We have family stories related to that we treasure, including the time where Mom and then Governor Bill Janko got into a heated phone conversation over a letter that Mom had written him. I'm not sure who got the better of that conversation, but I think they both enjoyed the exchange. She had great pride in getting her college degree from SDSU in 1985. By this time, Nan, Jerry, and I had already graduated from state, and Jane was in college. I figured if she knew her kids and how bright they weren't, she knew she could do it too. And she did and graduated with honors. A family friend wrote us a note giving an example of Mom's compassion, where, late in life, even in her own struggles, she instructed her friend to write a check for her to a family who lost everything. Mom and Dad were both visited and supported Grandma Edna, Mom's mother, as she lived out her days as well. And in defense of her family, no one was going to tell Mom that Jane couldn't play Little League baseball with the kids. The best description of Mom's vocation in life would most accurately be that of a homemaker. To some, that might not seem like much of an occupation. In Mom's own words, she wrote she had no major accomplishments which I could take much credit for in her life. But to us and our family, it was much more than a major accomplishment. It gave us a home base in our lives. It isn't an exaggeration to say she was an outstanding homemaker, great cook and hostess who kept an immaculate home, who took pride in her home and her family. She watched over her children and made sure they were walking the straight and narrow path, even when some of us walked further from that path than others, but no names will be given. She wanted us to be educated and faithful people, to be good citizens, and to care about others. We know that Mom wasn't a perfect person. Like all of us, certainly she had her failings. To say she had a temper is a bit like saying it gets a bit cold in South Dakota. She was the disciplinarian of the family. As kids, when we were acting up, the 9 words you didn't want to hear were, "You don't want me to get the wooden spoon." She could be sharp with the word and slow to forgive, kind of like all of us are. The lesson for us today is to once again learn from her example and remember that she taught us to forgive as we've been forgiven. The last couple of years were difficult for Mom, yet with each challenge came its own kind of blessing. For a woman who was an English major and loved to read, the loss of her sight was a huge blow. Yet it led her to the South Dakota Society for the Blind, where she made new friends and met people that inspired her. She had health problems in later years that slowed her considerably. Yet the wonderful care she received at Brookings Hospital and Clinic were a gift to her and to our family. The last thing Mom wanted in life was to be in a nursing home. And yet the kind and thoughtful care she received at the United Living Center was a great gift to her and to our family. Mom's diminishing health brought us closer as a family as it brought us all home to support her and Ben. All through her life, she was cared for by her husband, Glenn. He was a life partner and provider, and he modeled for our family the true meaning of being there for better or worse in marriage. He took on the roles of chief cook and bottle washer when Mom could no longer handle these tasks and handle them admirably. Just ask him about his world-famous hamburger soup. Finally, Mom was a strong woman, strong of faith. Mom and Dad were charter members of Ascension Lutheran. She was a Sunday school teacher for years and in later times was a consistent Saturday night attendee. Even in her last months at home, when she often wouldn't leave the house during the whole week for fear of falling, Mom would make the effort to get to church on Saturday nights. And of course, afterwards, get Dog Daisy a hamburger from McDonald's. She was a big fan of Pastor Rhonda, and we're all grateful to all our pastors and friends at Ascension over the years. And this provides the opportunity to thank all here at Ascension for their help in this service. A special thanks to Pastor Dave for his support of our family during these past days as well. So with all this, the joys and the sorrows, the good times and the bad, in life and now in death, we give thanks and praise to God for the life of Doreen Nachtigal, and for God taking her home. Thanks be to God.